You want to move on to the next week, but before you move on, you want to check in with yourself. And you want to do a process, and this process is called the plan, do, check process. So you had a plan, which was the weekly plan. Then throughout the week, you're executing it. And then at the end of the week, it's a check process, it's an introspection process. It's exactly like the daily introspections we've been doing, the daily recaps where you're checking in and saying, okay, this was my plan. Did it turn out yes or no? So we do it at all three levels. We do it at the short-term level. We do it at the medium-term level. What do I mean by that? That's once in 3 months, when the 3-month period is over, I look back at the last 3 months and say, what were my planned projects? What were the constraints? Why did I meet them? What did I meet and what did I not meet? So we're also introducing the concept, besides the clarity, at each stage we're doing this closed loop process, which is the planning process, the doing process, and then the checking and the introspection process.
Excellent. This is a Deming a process that you've obviously applied in business very successfully. Exactly. And now we're taking it into our own lives.
Exactly. So it's one of my favorite processes, the closed loop planning process. Deming actually called it plan, do, check, act. We're simplifying it right now and doing really the plan, do, check.
Perfect. So Sanjeev, I'd love to close up here with a little bit more of the why of how clarity helps people stay empowered. Giving them a sense of purpose, helping their energy be more funneled in the direction that's going to really help them meet their underlying needs and what they really want. Explain a little bit more on the importance of clarity and doing this process in the terms of staying empowered despite circumstance.
Right. So this is kind of particularly important because many people ask me this question. They've read Power of Now, and they want to stay in the moment. And we've been talking about the power of now. We are big believers in the power of now, and now we're introducing the concept of planning. And the question is, how do these two concepts mesh?
Yeah, it's a paradox in many regards. It's like,
or it's not.
Right.
Right. So that's why this loop becomes really important. What we're saying is that there are 3 steps. One is planning, which is looking at the future. To go into the future blind is not very useful. But when you're planning, you're present. And you're saying, at this time I'm planning. In the sense, the idea is not to mix the past, present, and future. So when I'm doing something, I don't want to be stepping and saying, am I doing the right thing? I've got clarity. So I took a step out, I checked out, and I planned. And when I'm doing something, so take a look at Tom in the ditch. When he's in the ditch, it doesn't make sense for him to worry about what he being in the ditch means to his kids. It's not good, but it makes no sense. He needs to be present. Nor does it make sense for him to be in the past and worry about what got him in the ditch. He's in the ditch, right? So he now needs to worry about the best way to get out. But there are certain things he needs to worry about. One of them is, what's the best strategy to get out of the ditch, but not be attached to the strategy? The second thing is, as he's executing the strategy, once in a while he needs to stop and look at, is the strategy working? Is there a better way to tweak the strategy, which is the introspection, which is the check-in part? So that's kind of how you stay present all the time. So when you're planning, you're present in planning. When you're introspecting, you're present in introspecting. So power of now is still a key driving principle, but it doesn't mean that you don't look ahead. And because sometimes people get confused, winter is coming, should I or not go collect firewood? Or should I just stay here and do nothing and be present in the now? Mm-hmm. I should plan, and there's value to planning. And the value to planning is, good planning allows you to stay in the present moment when you really need to.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, and it's been a huge shift for me, and I remember facing that paradox face on and starting to read books like The Power of Now, Understanding Joys in the Journey, more of my own spiritual journey, right? In getting into these principles and getting a lot of value from them. from this mindset I previously had, which was planning, doing, goal achieving, right? But then finding myself missing that sense of clarity and achievement, and like, reading books like Flourish and the Signs of Happiness, and realizing, well, there is something to growth and achievement and having clarity, and finding that balance is a really powerful place where you do recognize joys in the journey, but you also have clarity. So when you wake up that morning, you have that sense of purpose, and you know what you want to do next, and that the deeper reason for it.
Exactly. And again, going back to where we started today's discussion, was not fighting too many fires, not fighting unnecessary fires that's really putting you in what we call as the vicious cycle, right? And taking a time to check out, step above the fray, looking at everything and saying, what's reasonable, what's meaningful, and how can I create more space, and how can I do things with greater ease?
Absolutely. I'm clear. Are you clear?
I'm clear, and look forward to continuing to connect with you. If you have questions about the homework, ask us on Facebook, and look forward to this journey as it continues to roll. Thank you so much.